Good morning, everybody.
Right.
How many of you have moved to different country or different states? Okay, almost everybody. So that's great. Today I want to talk about the benefits of moving to different places. And this is my personal thoughts and just based on my personal experience. And to give you a little bit of background of myself, I was born and raised in Tehran in Iran. I spent most of my life in Tehran. Then I moved to New York City. I lived there for 4 years, and after that, I moved to Ann Arbor in Michigan. I was there for 2 years and a half, and then I moved to the Bay Area. So I have had like three big geographical moves in my life. And I want to talk about the benefits of these moves. One important benefit of moving is becoming more adaptable. When you move to another place, it means that things are new for you. There are things that you might not know, you might not be comfortable. It means that it's there and you can't change them. So you need to adapt to them. For example, I moved to New York City and I ended up living in a small studio, which was which is the smallest place that I've lived ever. But I enjoyed living there. Or when I lived in New York City, I didn't have car like most of people who live in the city, and I enjoyed living there without having a car. Or it's really expensive city. It's the time that I was constantly keeping an eye on my budget because it's really dangerous because you can go down quickly because everything is really expensive. But I had really great time living there, but I was able to manage that. These are the things that happened to me and I was able to manage. Or when I lived in Ann Arbor, it compared to the cities that I was raised and lived, the level of energy and vibe was much lower than the previous places, and the winter was really freezing and cold. And you can't change the environment, you can't change the society, but I managed living there, and I tried to make best of living there. So I think the most important thing is you become more adaptable and you can use it in any change in your life. For example, if any change happen in your professional life, then you say, okay, I've gone through a lot of big changes, so I can handle that too. Another thing that is really important is making new connections. Like when I lived in Iran, I had a lot of friends, families, relatives. So if I wanted to make new connection, I was really picky. So I wanted to person to have a lot in common. But when I moved to New York City, I didn't have anybody. So I was looking for somebody to have one single thing in common to be able to communicate and spend time. And it was really great experience of my life because I ended up making friends from people not from all over the world, but from most parts of the world. That's the beauty of living in New York City because you constantly meet people from different parts of the world. And I learned a lot from them. And it was ineffable experience in my life. So I really enjoyed that. So that's kind of you come become out of your comfort zone and you go after people to make connection. And it helps you, especially when you are in diverse places in your professional life as well. Then it's easy for you to make new connection with new employee if they are from different part of the world. That's really easy because I've been in that environment and it's not new for me. It's easy for me to make conversation and understand them about different backgrounds and culture. And another important thing about moving to different places is new experience. In any new experience that you have, you learn something new. You learn about the culture. For example, I moved to the US, I improved my language. That's one thing that I learned. There are a lot of things I learned from different people that I have met through these moves that I have. But one thing that is really important is you learn about yourself as well. That's really important because when you move to new place, you are going out of your comfort zone. So sometimes you are stretched financially, culturally, emotionally. A lot of things happens to you, and sometimes you rethink about limits that you have on yourself. Like when I was younger, I never thought that I can leave my beloved city, Tehran, for more than a month. But I ended up leaving that city that I still love it and I miss it, but it wasn't end of the world. And I enjoyed being outside that city as well. Sometimes you figure out there are limits that you think that are limits by outside, but the limits are your mindset. And when you are stretched, you see that it's not like that. Like that's something that I remind myself, and most of you that you have moved around, you should think about it. For example, I should remind myself if there is difficulty in life or a big change in my life, I should tell myself it's not as difficult as moving from Iran to New York City. If I manage that, I should be able to manage these changes. So these are like the benefits of move. So that's what I encourage you if you are thinking about moving or if you have moved in the past, keep in mind those benefits. Those are really kind of gives you energy and self-confidence about doing any change in your life. That was my story.